Top 10 craziest Joe Rogan conspiracy theories on the Joe Rogan Experience. John F. Kennedy.
So let's find one that we disagree on. I think you believe the official story of the JFK assassination, do you?
More or less, yes.
More or less.
Yeah.
My belief, and this changes over time, I think that Lee Harvey Oswald was in on it. I think he was a part of it, but I think there were multiple people that were in on it. That's what I believe.
Do you think there are multiple shooters?
Yes. And one of the reasons why I believe that is because of the formation of the single bullet theory. And the single bullet theory was formed because the fact that they had to account for one bullet that hit the underpass, ricocheted off, and put some man in the hospital. And that before that, they did not have an explanation for why all of these bullet holes, all these wounds were in all these different people's bodies. The other reason why I'm inclined to believe there's a conspiracy was the fact that they found that bullet on Connolly's gurney when they brought him into the hospital. It's too convenient, and the bullet itself is fairly pristine. Now, knowing as much as I know about bullets from personal experience of hunting, you can't hit anything with a bullet. I pulled a lot of bullets out of animals. When you shoot an animal and you hit bone, those bullets, they distort brutally. I mean, they don't look like that after they go through two people and hit all sorts of bone. That's the bullet that came out of Connolly's body, or Connolly's gurney, excuse me. And that's the bullet that they're attributing to this single bullet theory. If you look at the path of the bullet that goes through Connolly, or goes through Kennedy and then goes through Connolly, that to me is not unbelievable. It's not unbelievable.
That one is. There, you got to look at the other one.
But even that one, see what I'm saying? Even that one is not unbelievable. It is believable to me because I know that bullets do strange things when they hit things.
Right, but you got to combine that with the fact that the bullet came out fairly pristine, which means it didn't actually go through a kind of a bouncy path like that.
Right.
It went through a straight path. This diagram is from a
conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, essentially.
Yes. But
there are other diagrams that will show the actual path with him. Like, they've got them, the butts there on the same level, and you know that Kennedy was actually sitting above Connolly.
He was elevated, yes. So see if we can find one that has the actual seating arrangement, or more accurate seating. Well, the one right there with the red line in the right-hand side, the one on the right-hand side, that's a more accurate.
From above, yeah.
Yeah, from above.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that there was particles. There was more metallic particles from the bullets, more fragments from the bullet in Connolly's body than were missing from the bullet. I do not believe that was the bullet, and I think that is a very reasonable assumption.
Well, you know what you should do? You should get one of those guns, get the same bullets, get some ballistic dummies with some bones inside, and start shooting.
They've already done that.
Yeah.
Penn and Teller did that.
Yeah, but some people have done it, and they have found pretty close to what actually happened.
No, they didn't.
Within the round.
No. Every bullet that hit bone got distorted. That's just what happens. When you shoot those bullets into water, or you shoot those bullets into like fluff or something like that doesn't have a lot of impact to slow the bullet down, then you get a bullet that looks like that. If you shoot a bullet into bone, they distort wildly.
But the bone was the last thing that it hit.
But it doesn't matter. It's still hitting bone.
But it stopped at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't it hit bone in Kennedy's body as well?
Went through his neck, didn't it? So
the odds of it hitting only soft tissue, and it's going to go through his neck, and it came out here, that it didn't clip one of his vertebrae or something like that, I don't think that's real.
Yeah.
I think also there's a difference between, and this is fact, from David Lifton's book, Best Evidence, which was a book by an accountant who went over the Warren Commission report and found all these factual inaccuracies and all these contradictions. He found that there was a difference in the autopsy report at Bethesda, Maryland, the Bethesda Naval Hospital, versus what they had reported on the scene in Dallas. The first doctors that got a hold of Kennedy's body in Dallas before they flew him to Bethesda said that the hole in his neck was an entry wound. When they got to Maryland, they changed that to a tracheotomy hole. They changed the impact, and they said that this was not an impact from a bullet, that it was from something else.
Yeah, someone said they enlarged the hole to insert a trach tube.
Yeah, well, I think, there was also a lot of pressure on these people to try to wrap this up nice and tight and say that Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter.
There was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this big thing about the CIA inventing the FBI? The FBI, well, inventing the term conspiracy theory was a CIA thing.
I think it was the CIA.
Yeah, and this was a couple of years after the assassination. There was a memo that went out where they were concerned about all these conspiracy theories that were coming out. And they used the term conspiracy theories, and then they said they should try to basically debunk them and make the people who spread them around look like conspiracy theorists, basically.
Right.
So that the theory is that the term conspiracy theory came from that particular memo.
Was the moon landing real?
What what made you make the switch from like being a moon landing denier to like
That's a good question.
crazy if you don't think we
No,
went
I don't think we're crazy. No, this is my take on it. Absolutely, I don't know enough about astrophysics, about space travel,
Right.
about the science that's the work that's been done, about how to get a rocket to the moon and back. I definitely don't know enough.
It's rocket science.
And I've looked at a lot of very compelling documentaries that explain why they think it was hoaxed. And they'll show you some footage, and you can look at some of the footage, and it looks fake as fuck. There's some footage that, to me, looks really doctored. There's
To this day?
Yeah, to this day. There's some when you ever seen ones where it looks like they're on wires, like the astronauts are on wires?
I have.
There's some where there's a video where they look like they're on a trampoline. They're bouncing around on trampolines.
Mm-hmm.
The physics are different in different videos. This is where it gets weird. Like the physics are different from the Apollo 11 moon landing. We see them waddle around on the surface of the moon. They're moving at like half speed. And then you see them in other ones, like the one where they bounce around the air. You're like, wow, they're moving different. They're in the same thing, but it looks different. The first one was very grainy. They showed it on a projection screen.
Right.
There's a couple different possibilities. One possibility is it just looks weird because it's on the moon and your brain is trying to interpret it and your brain's going, well, that's fake, because you don't really understand what 1/6 Earth's gravity really does to a body.
It is, yeah.
That's one possibility. Another possibility, which has been shown to be true, is that some of the stuff that they passed off as being legitimate photographs of space travel was actually test runs where they blacked out the background and pretended that they were in space. And there's one really clear example of this. It's Michael Collins. Michael Collins, who was a guy who was aboard Apollo 11.
Right.
And Gemini 15, there's a photo of him in the middle of a, what is it when they walk around outside the spacewalk? They call it spacewalk? Why does that seem like a bad word? It's like spacewalk? Like if it doesn't seem like that's the official title. Well, it's in the middle of a spacewalk.
It's probably something more.
Yeah.
A little more syllables.
Yeah, something slicker. Anyway, so he's doing the spacewalk and he's got this harness on. He's holding on to this like thing. And it was apparently just an image that had already been published of him in a training exercise. And they blacked out the background and flipped the picture upside down.
That's the joint right there.
It's the same exact photo. Same exact photo. I mean, people have lined it up and switched it over. It's the same photo. It's just been edited. So the one on the left was them practicing how to use these. I don't guess that the harness is some sort of a thing that he's hanging on to. I guess it moves him around a little bit.
Right.
They were trying to practice it on the left, and on the right, they just passed it off. But those are publicity photos, right?
Right.
So you got to go, well, okay, well, who approves of publicity photos? It could easily be just some idiot who works in the publicity department who did marketing, who didn't think they had enough photos from the moon that were good of spacewalks. It's probably insanely difficult to take a spacewalk photo. Right. So does that mean that they faked the moon landing? No, but it means that people fake things. So you got to be really objective and looking at that. Right. Okay, so people say fake things. They definitely filmed a lot of the training exercises that they did of the moon landing. Right. They filmed a lot of shit. They definitely did. If that has already been proven, that they took this fake photograph and they tried to pass it off as a real spacewalk, it's entirely possible that some of the stuff that they filmed, they made out to look like they were on the moon when they were not. But does that mean they didn't go to the moon? No, it doesn't. And so when I was saying it proves that they didn't go to the moon, my critique of myself is that I didn't look at it objectively because I wanted one conclusion to be true, and I wanted that conclusion to be that the moon landing was fake. So I looked at it and I was saying to myself, okay, did I come to this conclusion because there's a lot of evidence that shows it to be fake, or have I seen a lot of evidence that looks fake? And does that mean that they didn't go to the moon? Right. No, it doesn't. There's a bunch of different possibilities. There's a ton of different possibilities. There's also the possibility that whatever photographs they took can get severely damaged in the radiation of space, and that it was really difficult to do.
Right.
That's possible too, and that they decided somehow or another that they were going to pass off these, that they actually did go, and they decided they're going to pass off some of these fake videos. So there's a bunch of possibilities. The possibility that it looks fake because I'm dumb, and because I don't understand anything about the physics of 1/6 Earth's gravity, and it just looks weird because it's shitty film, and it's 1969. That's possibility number one. Number two is they fake some things. Or number three is they didn't really have good footage because, like, you couldn't take film through the airport. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, people would go through those radar detectors, and your film would get jacked, and they weren't responsible.
I didn't have any film, but I know
people that I have friends that are photographers, and my uncle's a photographer, and he would tell me you can't send the film. Like, if you have you take a roll of film and awesome pictures.
How would they get it through?
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they did. But I know that some film has been damaged. Or maybe it's an urban myth. Maybe find out if film got damaged by those radar things at the airport. X-rays.
The Shining, the moon landing, and Stanley Kubrick's theory.
You know, there's a crazy conspiracy theory connected to The Shining and the moon landing.
Yeah, I heard about the moon landing.
Yeah, it's all about the number on the door is the exact same amount of thousands of miles. It's 237, and it's 237,000 miles away.
I heard
but it also,
that,
by the way, it varies. See, that's the problem with that argument, is that like the distance between the Earth and the moon is not constant. I think it moves a little bit. So I think it goes as far as 265,000 feet out, or miles rather, 265,000 miles out, and it goes to 237. But I think it varies. I think it goes like this. I think it has like an elliptical orbit around the Earth a little bit. Maybe I made that up. Is that true?
Yeah, it sounds accurate. Sorry, I was in the middle of reading the 237 stuff.
Yeah, I heard it was also possibly about Native Americans, how the hotel was built on an ancient Indian burial ground, and even Shelley Duvall sort of looked Native American. You could hear Native American music playing in the opening credits.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's many layers to it.
Yeah, he's just a brilliant man. He was a brilliant man.
The little kid did have an Apollo 11 sweatshirt on.
Yeah, that's true. He did have an Apollo 11.
I mean, that's pretty on the nose.
I just remember in the back room, in the stock room, there was like a can of a product with a giant. It was like Geronimo's head on there. I'm sure.
Dude, there's so much to that. There's probably many layers. I mean, Kubrick is not going to operate on one layer.
No,
he's probably going to have a bunch of weird shit in there.
I mean, look at 2001. What a mind fuck.
Oh my god. What a mindfuck.
Yeah.
Well, there was so much of his work. You know, and he's the guy that the conspiracy theorists, when they get the most crazy, when they really want to dive into who did it, they think it was all Kubrick. That Kubrick literally filmed the fake moon landing, uploaded it to the American TV satellites.
If anyone could do it, it'd be him. He'd be the guy I would get to do it.
Can you imagine if that was really what happened?
I've heard all
these years.
I remember hearing all the fucking conspiracy theorists about the Illuminati killing him because he made yeah.
Well, they were worried he was going to open his fucking mouth.
Well, he made
tell
the
about the moon landing.
Oh, no.
That's what it was.
No, because he made
keep his fucking
eyes
mouth
wide shut.
That too. That was his last one. They're like, enough. This guy's getting too close.
Because I think he died like a week after that movie came out.
Of course he did.
That's fucked up.
That's how they roll.
The non-existence of space and a one-world government.
Direct everyone to hashtag space is fake. Because I've been doing research on space being fake.
Is that real? That's a real site?
Yeah, hashtag space is fake is something I'm investigating for my next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm legitimately looking deep into people
flat
that
Earth, there's
flat
so much
earthers
material
mock
there.
them.
There's
Flat
so-
Earth is like, what? Space is fake. What?
No.
You dumb
You
motherfucker.
flat earthers like,
flat
bro,
earthers walk
chill.
away
No,
from
it's the
them.
same thing.
Oh, okay.
You got it all wrong. You got it all wrong.
Is
Well,
everybody
Eddie,
that
I've
believes
got to
the flat-
think this is not
everybody-
very organized.
No, what I'm saying is
I got to think I
everybody
couldn't
that
have it
thinks-
all wrong.
No,
There's
everybody,
no way.
anybody that thinks the Earth is flat, they totally don't believe what we're taught about what's above us. So when
the
people
sun?
say space
Wait a
is
minute.
fake, they
What about the
mean-
sun?
They mean all the information we're getting. You're lying about that shit. That it's not that it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. We see
Right,
it.
of course.
But space is fake sounds ridiculous. Like
There's something
we're
up
looking
there.
at it and it's fake. That's ridiculous. That's
just
not what
the
it means. It
Truman
means
Show.
that all the information we got about all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky.
Yeah. Something
They're
else?
lying. They're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're lying to us.
Why would NASA lie?
And there's a reason,
well,
and
why
I can sit
wouldn't
here
they,
and tell you,
Brian?
but you guys don't want to hear it.
Hold on.
Wouldn't they?
So I don't want to talk
Can you give
about
us the cliff notes?
it. The cliff notes are man.
Have you studied any kind of a?
He doesn't need to,
from-
B. Let's hear just a few of it.
The goal has always been for the most powerful emperors is a one world government. They always wanted a one world government. All the Roman emperors, they try to figure out, they try to do different combinations. How about and they would fall, and a new emperor would come and go, you know what? I'm going to fucking rule
World
the world
domination, in other words.
Aztecs.
I'm not going to let my soldiers get married. That way we'll have a stronger army. They have different philosophies. Everyone believed different shit. But they all wanted a one world government. There's no way to have a fucking one world government. Nobody's into that shit.
Right.
Not even other rulers from small countries are like, one world government, that's going to put me out of a job. Fuck your one world government. People that don't know shit about politics don't want a one world government. There's no way you're going to sell a one world government. It's impossible. The only way to make a one world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it because nobody wants it. So the trick is to make people want it, to embrace it. There's only one way.
I gotta pee.
There's only
Hold
one
on,
way.
Joe. This is very
You're gonna
important.
miss
I've
out
heard
on
this. I know this.
Okay. I don't know
The
that.
only way, and they've known this forever. The Vatican knew this. The Vatican, the Pope wanted to rule the world. They all knew it, but they couldn't do it. They all knew it, but they knew one way, but there's no way how they're
What's
going to
the
pull it
one
off.
way, man?
The only way is if there was some extraterrestrial threat from up above us. That would be the only way to have everyone embrace the one world government. They all knew that for years.
But it didn't work
That's
so far.
the plan. They could never
It's a
make it
shitty
work.
plan, though.
They didn't have the technology 500 years ago. The Vatican knew about it. They wanted it. And you go to the Vatican, you see paintings of like
Have you been there?
UFOs with aliens in them. And back when I used to believe in UFOs, but before I figured out that UFOs they want us to believe in UFOs. They're preparing us for a fake alien invasion. That's always been the plan. A one world government. The only way to
freak
do
out.
it is to get us to embrace it. And the only way to embrace it is from an alien attack. Ronald Reagan talked about it many times at the UN, CFR. He talked about it because wouldn't it make, he looked at all the leaders of the nation, of the world, and said, wouldn't it make our lives easier if we just had some kind of extraterrestrial threat? He said that shit. He said that in front of the UN. Like he's trying to get everybody into
I don't think he ever said that,
believing. No, he said that many times. It's on video many times.
Ronald Reagan?
And what Ronald
Ever
Reagan?
heard of him,
and
Brian?
while-
Ever heard
I've
of him?
listened to
George
a lot of his
Bush
speeches.
was vice president.
Right.
He was talking about, and there's many videos of him saying, what lies before us. He's in front of the nation doing a State of the Union address, saying what lies before us is the opportunity to forge a new world order, an order. Because he's talking about like
Do you
it's
think that
time.
means the space is fake?
Yes.
No. When people ask me why would they fake space, it's always been about a fake alien attack. You can't have a fake alien attack.
I've never heard a politician ever talk
You can't
about
have
a
a fake alien attack
though.
without space.
But I've never heard a politician
You
talk
have to have
about
space first. So they always, you know who promoted space more than anybody? Who wanted
Nazis.
Who wanted
Scientists?
Nazis?
Russians.
But before the Nazis, you know who wanted
Cavemen.
space?
Aztecs.
No, the Vatican.
Mayans.
The Vatican. They have all the biggest. They have all the astronomers. They're all Jesuit Vaticans. All of them. All the ones that are giving us this information about space. They all come from the Vatican. The Vatican has the most
the
powerful
Vatican said
telescope.
that the
You
Earth-
know what the name of the
Wait a
Vatican
minute. The
telescope
Vatican
is?
doesn't have the most powerful
Yes, they
telescope.
do. You know what its name is?
What
It
is
has
it
the
called?
most powerful telescope, the Vatican. And you know what name it is? I've
What?
done the research on YouTube.
on
I have the
YouTube.
links.
But
You know what the name of this? Do you know
Isn't
what the
the biggest
name
one in
of
Chile?
this? The most powerful telescope in the world. It's in the Vatican.
What
Do
is
you know
it?
the Lucifer?
Lucifer's
What?
dick balls. Lucifer's dick and balls.
I've never seen this fucking telescope.
Yeah, it's legit, dude. I think the biggest one's in Chile. I think they have to be in high
It's in
altitude.
the Vatican.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the Vatican.
You guys didn't. So when people ask me, why would they fake all this shit?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest telescope,
This
Eddie.
is just a crazy theory.
It certainly is.
We're
Now,
talking
I've
a
never
theory.
heard-
Here's the
It's funny.
thing.
It's a funny theory.
But Eddie, these new Chile Very Large Array telescopes that they're creating are fucking gigantic, and they take over enormous pieces of land.
Listen, I was with you.
Google
I
the
was with
Very
you.
Large
Listen, I was with
Array.
you. It's called the Very Large Telescope. I watched the documentary with you at your house. It was like 2001, and
Yeah, I
they said
think-
in 5 years
Yeah.
there's a documentary about them putting together the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and they're talking about by the year 2005 we're gonna have 3 telescopes linked with a computer to make us. We're gonna see further into space than ever before. None of that shit came.
What are you talking about?
None
I
of
think
that shit came.
The Jeffrey Epstein theory.
With what just happened with Epstein, people are, you can't get away with this stuff anymore.
Well, what happened with Epstein, this is what I like about it.
Yeah.
It was so blatant and so
blatant.
outrageous that people go, hey, maybe they did fucking kill Kennedy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They
maybe
absolutely did.
Maybe
and
they
I was
fucking
just
did.
doing shows in Fort Worth, and I was looking at these audiences, and I was going, they'd kill him again.
Yeah.
They'll kill him again. Give these people a couple of shots of tequila, another shot goes right to Kennedy's head.
Well, if there was another one like Kennedy, like
Right.
let's think if someone took over after Trump and this
Yeah.
guy was trying to get rid of the NSA and get rid of the CIA,
Yeah.
and you know, and then there
He's
was
going
some
at the
sort
mafia
of
and industrialists.
and there was
Yeah.
some, and the mafia fucking got him into office in the first place.
100%,
So they
yeah.
were like, "Hey, you fucking piece of shit!
Yeah.
we're the reason why you're here. We rigged Chicago for you." And so then he has this military blunder, the Bay of Pigs, and so then the military's after him. Everybody's hangry.
He
The
says he wants
Cubans are
to
angry.
splinter the CIA
Yeah.
into 1,000 pieces and give all like peacetime intelligence gathering capability to the military.
If we had someone like that,
Yeah.
some guy like that, and by the way, he was fucking everything that moved too.
Yeah, I mean, and
It's
he
a
was
different world
doing
back
drugs
then.
and everything.
Woo!
You know, he
He
was
was on
enjoying
meth.
himself.
He was
Yeah,
on meth.
that's crazy.
They had a doctor, Dr. Feelgood. That's where the name came from.
And they
the
would
fucking
go,
Motley Crue song.
Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood.
And it was
Yeah.
Kennedy's doctor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's when being president was a great job.
Well, they all were on it. That's
Yeah.
how they fucking got the party moving.
Yeah, just meth heads.
Busy, man. You
Running,
got things
yeah,
to do. It's
could-
hard.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, listen, this is the argument for Trump being on amphetamines right now.
Yeah,
How the fuck else are you going to run a country?
yeah. You have to be a little amped.
A little amped up.
He's definitely amped.
got a little piece of something.
But I like seeing him. I like seeing him. You know, when he goes big.
What is this?
Sidebar: South Dakota today started a new campaign, anti-meth campaign, but it is onmeth.com, and meth, we're on it is the slogan. That
Oh
they
my
spent over
God.
450 grand.
I mean, there's not anybody.
What? You spend how much?
450 grand of taxpayer money to figure this out.
Oh my God.
This is
Meth
why people
addiction.
hate the government, because nobody was able to stop this and say, "Hey, this is not the best."
This is the dumbest fucking ad campaign I've ever seen in my life. Meth, we're on it. That sounds like a fucking Onion article.
It's like a rap song or something. Like a bad rap song.
This is so.
Doesn't it seem like an Onion article?
I love what it says. It goes, South Dakota has a problem. There isn't a single solution because meth is widespread, but we can approach it from different angles so it doesn't take over counties, towns, neighborhoods. Let's work together. Meth, we're on it. God.
What's up with that fucking brown water? Turn that back up. Put that back on. How about you fix that fucking toilet water you got your kids swimming around in?
Yeah.
Look at that water. It's disgusting.
Yeah, meth
you
is
got
probably
more than one problem.
Yeah, meth is not even in the top 10 problems in South Dakota. Meth is what you need to get on to fix the other problems in South Dakota. The whole town council's got to
Yeah,
have some
you need
meth.
to start cleaning.
But Epstein, they just charged guards. I mean, this is hilarious.
Yes.
This is a very funny comic. Nick Mullen on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, this is the justice we all wanted. The guards." You
Well,
know?
no, here's what's
Not
good.
the-
Two prison
yeah.
guards tasked with watching Jeffrey Epstein on night he killed himself. They should fucking charged with falsifying records.
And conspiracy.
And conspiracy. Here's why that's good. Somebody paid those guys, and they're going to sing, or they're going to die. Something's going to happen. Either they're going to take those guys.
I
and
think
they're
it's
gonna-
a way to satiate the public. I don't think that Barr, the Attorney General, has any real desire to get to the bottom of what happened. I mean, this is clearly, obviously, sexual blackmail. Epstein was involved with intelligence, whether it's U.S., whether it's Mossad, it's somebody. His island was a honeypot. He had powerful people in compromising positions. He was probably like an access agent where he would give these intel agencies access to insanely powerful people, ex-presidents, people like that. So there, if you don't want to open up that wound because it's never going to stop bleeding, and guys like Barr who are this is a guy that's participated in multiple cover-ups. I don't think he has any really interest in. He's a lifelong government official. You could say deep state, you could say whatever it is, but he's just a career. His job is to protect the interests of these power factions in Washington, these government agencies. There's no way they open this up. And there was no way that they could have had Jeffrey Epstein in open court pointing fingers at maybe prime ministers and presidents. It would tear countries apart. It would be the biggest political scandal in our lifetime.
I just can't believe they just murked him like that, though. They didn't just murk him. They murked him twice. Here's what I want to know. When he tried to commit suicide the first time, were the cameras broken then, too?
Great question. I don't know.
How come we never heard that?
Well, we didn't see any footage of him. I've never seen any footage of him in his cell. I mean, they haven't released any footage of the cameras ever working, right? I mean, from what I can understand.
Did they even comment on it? Remember the first time that he attempted to commit suicide?
I think they got it. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, I think they found him. They transferred him. I don't know if they have photographic evidence of him doing that.
Google what happened the first time Epstein tried to kill himself, because that's an interesting thing.
And where is it's a very interesting.
So do they know for sure? Did they watch the footage and see him tying a rope around his neck?
And then they went in and go, next time you got to do it like this. You tie the knot stronger. You take off from the chair.
My favorite thing was his cellmate. The cellmate that they gave him.
Oh yeah, which is like a cop who
gorilla cop
from Westchester.
Huge skinhead looking dude, Italian guy,
coked out,
giant muscles, who killed a bunch of fucking people and sold drugs.
Just him and Epstein, and they got along.
He was like the Hollywood stereotype of the last guy you would want in your fucking cell.
Be in a cell with.
Big Guido, ex-corrupt cop with giant muscles.
Yeah.
It's
this monster.
And connected to the law. I mean, it's just like, if that's the guy, I mean, that would be the guy that, maybe he's the guy who killed him.
Who knows?
I mean, he's a giant fucking guy.
I mean, guys like that, I'm sure would take a bribe pretty easily, and and those guys don't open their mouths,
just for fucking cigarettes.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I mean, he can't open his mouth. He's in jail.
Right.
They got him locked up, and they go, look.
And who knows, and listen, if
Tommy, come on.
Right, Tommy, do this.
Tommy, you're here forever. You like killing people.
New Epstein evidence and theory.
Last night during the Golden Globes was going on, there was some jokes going on by Ricky Gervais that we can probably talk about later, but 60 Minutes was probably going on a different channel at the same time, and they had a report with some new evidence that nobody has seen yet.
Oh, jeez.
They have some autopsy photos and photos from inside his cell.
Whoa.
Yeah, the photo.
Are the photos online?
Yeah, I'll get them.
Of course they are.
Yeah, I didn't know this was just released. I saw this last night, and I saw one of the photos, and it looks real.
So I watched the 15 minutes that they put together, which is mostly just about like the incident in the cell and surrounding it. I'm just going to show you the pictures though, because we can't watch their thing. Let me try to get the 13 images because they're all.
Am I scared?
No, I mean it's just.
I'm scared already. I'm scared already because of Iran. I don't want to be scared of this video of them whacking this dude.
You know they whacked him. Yes.
That's 100%. The fact that they thought they can get away with that, that's so crazy. Like, that is such a crazy thing to try to get away with. This gigantic international case. Hey, what happened to the cameras? Oh, I'm fucking broke, man. I don't know. Sucks. Guy hung himself.
They needed a couple days to make the videos and stuff like that.
Bro, he tried. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with
These are so fake.
He tried to hang himself before. And they're like, hey, don't do that again. And he's like, all right, I won't. Give me my belt. Give me my shoelaces. Give me whatever the fuck that guy strangled me with.
Yeah, these photos are all fake, right?
No, hold on.
I mean,
I don't know why it's not.
They're very realistic.
We need Eddie Bravo in here immediately.
Okay, here we go. I'll pull this up here. So this is from his cell. This is inside there. I'll put these up on the screen. So this was the cell he was in by himself.
Okay.
They said he used a bunch of these orange jumpsuits, which I guess were already in there.
He tied them around his head?
I guess there is a little like spot way up here on the top of the grate where the window is, where you could see maybe there was something up there. But the thing to remember here is that he was about 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. There's one other thing like on this ladder here. There is also some other things I'll get into in just a second that would be easier to use than tying all this shit together. But they showed, there's the other thing here was this. This was about 4 feet off the ground. And they do show a noose, which they're saying was what he used. But as the doctor sort of said, that the noose that they show a picture of, which is what you can see in the top right corner here. Which is playing this,
that's
video.
Dr. Michael Baden. That's that
Yeah.
guy from the HBO autopsy show.
For some reason, I can't, I'll find it in a second, but the picture that shows his actual neck doesn't seem like this noose caused that wound. And it's a little bit lower than it probably should have been.
Oh, Jesus.
So they're showing some of these other. This is some of the pictures of him. This is the bone, his jaw, the hyoid bone.
His jaw was broken?
Well, there's the fracture that they said wasn't consistent with hanging. It's more consistent with a murder or homicide. And he said, this is Baden's words, is that usually he's seen it in maybe like one bone break and sometimes two, but there were 3 fractures. And he says like he's almost never seen that in any of his cases he's ever looked over.
And you would think it would be, if you're going to hang yourself from such a short distance, it would be even harder to get a fracture like that, right? Because you're not like jumping out like in an old Western movie, like Clint Eastwood movie when they would hang him high.
So the one thing that they also had in here was he left a note.
Oh, Jesus.
The note said like there was like 4 things. It said first that it had the name blurred out, but it said this person left him in a shower locked for an hour. It then said someone else gave him like burnt food, and then bugs were crawling over his hands, and then he just wrote no fun. But there's a ballpoint pen like the one I have in my hand sitting right next to it. And they're like, if you knew he was on suicide watch, you wouldn't give him a ballpoint pen that he could kill himself with.
Jamie, you should be a goddamn detective.
Well, this
for
is what
CSI.
they're saying. And he had his sleep apnea machine was in there. It was, you could see an extension cord coming from the hallway into his room that he could have just used that to kill himself and hang himself.
Or the
way
9
easier.
jumpsuits. Why does he have 9 jumpsuits?
Yeah, the jumpsuit thing is freaky. Like they're trying to explain it by bringing in some new witness.
So somehow this is actually a different video that's showing a couple of different things than what I saw this morning. I didn't see this arm thing, and I didn't see the picture of his back.
The arm thing looks like an injection spot. Is that what it looks like?
I guess so. Here's the actual. This is what I saw. Here's the note.
What does it say? Sorry,
So it says,
it's not 60 Minutes. Get their watermark all over it. It's so funny. Sorry, 60 Minutes. Thank you. Thanks for getting this.
So it
What is
says,
it?
kept me in a locked, it's blurred right here. It says the
Right.
name is blurred. Kept me in a locked shower stall for 1 hour. Someone, I don't know the name, sent in burnt food. Giant bugs crawled on my hands, and then no fun. And then they're saying, and then he killed him. But then this ballpoint pen was next to it, that he could have stabbed himself in the neck or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to kill yourself with a pen.
Yeah.
But
Do they get pens?
that's
Not usually, but this is like a,
High profile case.
yeah, I don't know.
It's just.
Yeah,
Boy,
I don't think you should
look,
have a pen.
It might look. It's bad to say either way if you don't know, and I'm guilty of that 100%. I'm like, that guy didn't kill himself. I am talking shit though. I'm not talking in terms of like we have to understand. This is really important.
Here's the.
We're doing a podcast. When you're doing a podcast, you don't have to be factually accurate. You just have to talk shit. And hopefully if you fuck up, you correct it and it's funny. I'm not a science expert, but when these guys are saying that the guy died by strangulation, there's all these points of consistent strangulation, and it takes forever to get these pictures, and then there's the video cameras didn't work, and this is the second time he tried to kill himself, and he's a high-profile witness in a really, really, really important case involving pedophiles at the highest levels of government. Yeah, I would think that that's the kind of guy you whack.
You're also, according to the procedure, you're not when there's a suicide there, you're not supposed to remove the body and take it to the emergency room. You're supposed to treat it as though it was a murder or like a crime scene.
What's crazy is that it's so high profile. Like even because this is most likely how they did it forever, right? Like people that whack people, they were probably like, I was doing comedy before the internet. they were probably whacking people before the internet, right?
Do you want to see? I found the graphic image.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not scared.
Don't see if you don't want to see it, Brian. But
I saw that. He has weird texture on his cheek, I thought.
Interesting, Brian.
Like
Tell me more.
Like bed marks, almost like he was. Maybe
I think that's just the blood rushing to his head. Yeah. Bro, that guy got strangled. That looks like a strangled guy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Or choked from
But the thing is, like,
there's no blood on that. That's
no.
the thing. There's no blood on that noose that they said was the noose that did it. And
there's no blood on his body.
And there's no pictures of him in the cell. They didn't take any pictures of that.
Wait, hold on. There's no blood on the noose they said killed him, but yet there's blood on his neck?
Correct. That was pointed out by the
that's
reporter.
Insane. That's insane. That's impossible.
No.
If did they really do a test of the rope that they supposedly said
just showed a
hung
picture
him?
of it, and it looks very clean and unused. And
well, it is orange. Right. Maybe the red doesn't show up that clean on orange. Can we look at it again?
I think this.
I think we should probably look. I want to say for sure they killed him.
And the lawyer she's talking to in the piece is his former cellmate's lawyer, and he's just no, it's obviously
Earvin Magic Johnson.
Because in my mind, if you like somebody, right, you see them, you're going to go up to them and speak to them. I just try to gauge things on how I would do it, right? For example, I was on the plane with Steve Nash this morning.
Okay.
I saw Steve Nash. I'm like, Wax is like, oh shit, Wax, my boy. He's like, oh shit, that's Steve Nash. And I'm like, oh shit, that's Steve. I didn't speak to Steve.
Did you say hello?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Okay.
I didn't feel it. Even though I respect him.
Right.
Know he's a great player. But if it was John Stockton,
that's a little.
I'd be like,
that's
John,
a little different.
You know what I'm saying?
Different.
Steve, I didn't feel
There's some
that
people you
Steve.
have to say hi to.
Say what?
There's some people you have to say hi to.
Rachel Dolezal.
Get the fuck out of here.
I said hi.
Did you?
I met her. Seattle. Absolutely.
Where was she?
I saw her with, I think she had at least one kid, maybe another one. She's just at the airport. We're online.
She's bisexual.
No
now
TSA
too.
pre-check.
She's
what?
bisexual?
She's bisexual now, too.
She's bisexual, biracial. She's not biracial.
Transracial.
She is black. She's not both.
Transracial.
I know, but what I'm saying is she's bi, so she's straight and gay with the thing.
Yeah.
But I said hello, said what's up. Amazing forehead. One of the best foreheads you'll ever see in the game.
I would have ignored her.
What?
I would have ignored her. Rachel Dolezal? Yeah.
You wouldn't have got the selfie?
No. I
saw Jussie Smollett. I took a picture of him.
Oh my goodness.
In Lafayette Bakery.
What do you think is going to happen with him?
Nothing.
Absolutely. Ride that out?
Nothing.
It's amazing. Nothing legally. It's amazing legally.
Oh, I think Chicago was coming after him, though.
You think so?
Nah.
Yeah. Didn't they say that they were
trying
going
to get him for the money?
For the money that they spent.
But that's not that much.
There's no such thing as cancel culture no more. Cancel culture is absolute bullshit, bro.
Ooh.
Really?
O.J. Simpson proved that.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when Bill Cosby comes home, he'll be on the road doing motherfucking stand-up. R. Kelly's still out here selling shows. Like, Charlie Sheen is still out here flourishing. Like,
Charlie Sheen ducked it all.
Dude, what?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Not all. He did get that AIDS.
He's got AIDS, but
he got that AIDS. He got the good AIDS?
Today with medication.
Guys, exactly. What is AIDS?
Doesn't even. You're worse off getting the flu.
Come on, man. Man, what is HIV?
Yeah, what is it?
Some say the greatest endorsement deal Magic Johnson ever signed. I'm saying, we're not going to act like his career didn't flourish.
Bro, and he looks great.
Take this AIDS, you go get some movie theaters.
I was in my car the day they announced on the radio that Magic Johnson had HIV, and I was shitting my pants. I was like, oh my God, this is like the beginning of a zombie movie. We're all going to get it. If Magic Johnson, with all his money and all his fame, if he's got it, I'm going to get it. We're all going to get it. I was terrified.
Did you stop rolling?
I remember in my car driving, and then I hear it on the radio. I'm like, holy shit, this is insane. 30 years later, he looks great.
He looks amazing.
He looks great.
He's on TV telling us why he left the motherfucking Lakers.
He's like,
and
fuck the Lakers.
Not once did somebody say, yo, you know Magic got HIV?
Oh, I said it.
This how you... Shut up. No, you did.
That's all I was thinking about. Every time I see him. Because he looks incredible. He does look incredible.
He does look incredible.
Yeah.
He does look incredible.
He's not even positive in tests anymore.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah. If you give him a test for HIV, it comes up negative. Because apparently these protease inhibitors and all these different things that they take to the different medications, you don't even test positive for HIV anymore.
By the way, then listen, it was this older white dude, and I forgot what TV show I was on the set of, but he was explaining to me the whole situation with Magic, and he was like, the reason that they chose Magic was because they wanted to erase a lot of these stigmas. People thought that HIV and AIDS was a gay disease, and they needed like a alpha male, I guess, to have it, to kind of erase that stigma and to let people know that you can live with it. Like HIV, AIDS.
Like they gave it to him?
Well, this is what he told us. This is not, by the way, this is not a Charlemagne the God theory. All right? I'm telling you what somebody told me. What they said to me was Magic had got caught up in some type of scandal. And,
I heard this.
Before,
underage, right?
Yeah, and before the scandal came out, because the person that he was with was like
allegedly
some bigwig's child or something like that. And so they said, this is what you're going to do so we don't ruin you. I'm not saying it's true.
Joe, before you take this in, he believes in Sasquatch.
No, I'm not saying I believe this.
He doesn't. He believes Sasquatch was real.
That just started right now on this podcast. If I asked him yesterday, he'd be like 100% there. Sasquatch is real.
I would say this. I'm not saying I believe that magic theory. I'm just repeating what I was told.
That is a common rumor that's out there. I've heard that rumor as well. That he doesn't actually have it, but that it was either that or.
But we just got done saying how you read rumors about you that are ridiculous, and you go, "What the fuck?" And then you realize, oh, this is what happens.
Yes.
People just make shit up, and then people repeat the shit that people make up.
Because we can't fathom that he beat AIDS, bro. AIDS was bodying people
Killing
back in the
people.
day.
Like Freddie Mercury.
Freddie gone.
Yeah.
Who else?
Eazy-E.
Eazy-E, my downstairs neighbor.
Yeah.
Was your downstairs neighbor?
No, I had a downstairs neighbor who had AIDS.
You gotta put a comma on this shit, man.
I'm just saying. Listen, I don't know.
Throw that in the sentence.
That's not enough of a pause there.
Bro, I learned about AIDS real young. My downstairs neighbor, dead.
I thought Andrew was in his 30s. I'm like, he was your downstairs neighbor? I was like, what the?
So look at
this
Charlie
motherfucker.
Sheen.
Look at him, yo.
Book Charlie Sheen for $350. Book him where?
On Cameo.
Oh, on Cameo.
What the fuck
why
is
does he
Cameo?
have sunglasses on? Like, what is happening here? What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't
This strange
Shout
fellow.
out to somebody, just showing you what he's up to.
He aged very quickly. It's like, see, he seemed to be fine when he was doing 2.5 Men. When he stopped doing that show, he aged like 100 years.
Joe, he has HIV. We don't know how it's affecting
that's true
him.
too. I forgot he has
exactly.
HIV. I forgot.
Everybody
he has it.
Everybody's not Magic Johnson here.
Yeah,
okay,
I forgot he has it.
I'm saying
Magic.
That's why. That, by the way, that is why I say Magic is like the greatest NBA player of all time.
Why?
Because of that, he played 13 seasons in the NBA, went to 9 NBA finals, won 5 of them, won in college, came in, won his rookie year, and went one-on-one with HIV and fucking won.
Destroyed.
He destroyed the stigma of HIV.
He definitely did.
Anybody that catches HIV right now, the first thing you're going to say to yourself is,
"Give me Magic stock.
I can live through anything if Magic made it."
Real talk.
You know what I'm
Magic's
saying?
fine. 30
That's
years
it.
later, he's okay.
What
It's not
the-
a death sentence
That's
anymore.
it.
Stoned Ape Hypothesis.
This goes into actually the evolution of human consciousness. And Terrence McKenna was a good friend of mine. I love Terrence. I especially loved him the last 5 years of his life because he made fun of himself so much. Terrence, people took Terrence way too seriously in many levels, but as his brother Dennis, which I think has been on your show
A couple times.
Yeah, Dennis is a great,
Love that guy.
great ally, great scientist. But Dennis said even if 10% of what Terrence said was true, it's friggin' amazing. And Terrence and Dennis both came up with a stoned ape theory. Now it's not a theory; it's a hypothesis. A hypothesis is speculative, but cannot necessarily be as not yet proven. A theory is a hypothesis that has been tested and proven with facts. So I disagree with them in saying it's not a theory; it's a hypothesis. But the hypothesis of the stoned ape, which I think you've alluded to before, is that with climate change and as the savannas increase and our primate ancestors came out of the forest canopies, they're tracking across the savanna. And if you're a hunter, what do you look? You look for footsteps and you look for scat. And the most significant fleshy mushroom going out of poop in Africa, hippopotamus, elephant, deer, antelope, etc., is Psilocybe cubensis. It's a very large mushroom. You're hungry. You're with your clan. You consume it, and then 20 minutes later, you are catapulted in this extraordinary experience. Psilocybin substitutes as serotonin, becomes a better neurotransmitter, activates neurogenesis. It causes new neurons to form, new pathways of knowledge. So that's the stoned ape hypothesis, and it speaks to a mystery that the human brain basically the brain cavity doubled in size in about 2 million years. Some people say it's less than 200,000. Homo sapiens
Less than 200,000 years?
Yeah. Homo sapiens arrived 200,000 to 300,000 years ago.
That's a big gap, right?
It's a big gap. Well, the science is like that. So you want to be scientifically accurate here, I need to show the extreme margins of what's been estimated. So if we accept 2 million years and it's shown in the fossil record, this is true. The oldest Homo sapien fossils are 300,000 years old now. But we have a suddenly doubling of the human brain. And with that, our language centers increased, our ability to prognosticate, to plan. And there's no explanation for this currently. And even though we may not be able to prove it, I ask people to suspend their disbelief for a second. Now think of this. Our primate ancestors are going across the savannah. They ingest these mushrooms as a clan. Massive input for anyone who's eaten these mushrooms. Huge amounts of data is coming in. Fractal patterns, geometrical, landscapes occur. You have empathy. You have greater courage. You're fighting a saber-toothed tiger. One day you have a fear of it. We know now from neurogenesis and the extinction of the fear response that has been clinically proven, psilocybin allows you to reset and have different neurological pathways to respond to fear, overcoming the fear conditioned response, potentially PTSD, and there's a lot of research on this currently. But this wouldn't happen one time with one hominid group. It wouldn't happen 2 times, 10 times. It happened millions and millions and millions and millions of times over millions and millions of years. This leads to what I think is called, this should be called epigenetic neurogenesis. We know that there's a regeneration of neurons. We know that psilocybin substitutes the serotonin. It opens the floodgates of the senses. You have a lot more data coming in. And we know that you have the extinction of the fear response. So if you're the leader of your clan, you've had this traumatic event, either war or cataclysm from earthquakes, whatever the case may be, or encounter a saber-toothed tiger, whatever. If you're the leader of that clan and you can overcome your fear response, you have courage and you have empathy. Those are leadership skills. I think people should take note of it. People like to follow leaders who are courageous and yet kind, who they can trust. They'll have their best interests in mind. So I think this propelled, it's a very good explanation. It's an unprovable hypothesis. But now we're at a junction and we're ready for the next quantum leap in human consciousness. I think psilocybin should be looked upon as a nootropic vitamin. And there's a huge amount of interest in this. Johns Hopkins University, as you probably well know, New York University, UCLA, elsewhere in Europe, there's major clinical studies that have been conducted in the past 2 years showing exactly what I'm saying about overcoming fear response, neurogenesis, overcoming PTSD. This is now medically quite seriously considered and something that I think that we should explore under controlled settings. I'm not into partying with psilocybin mushrooms.
Damn. You're going so good.
I can understand the
Ari
urge.
Shafir is going to be here in an hour and a half, and he's the creator of Shroom Fest. He's going to be very upset with your idea that you shouldn't party with it.
Well, I think there's greater benefit to
I agree with
yourself
you.
and humanity. I think these are serious tools.
The White Helmets.
I feel like we're at this cusp of something very strange happening. Like we're in the middle of it right now, but we're at the cusp of something very strange, where all it would take is one massive world event, one map to completely remap how we view each other and how we view things. It's very disconcerting to me.
It feels like without that one big world event, we're not that far away from that right now.
Right.
There are parallel universes right now that exist on things that you would have thought everyone can accept as a basic fact.
Like what?
Syria.
Yeah.
The White Helmets. There are some fairly serious people saying the White Helmets are, some kind of media front for Al Qaeda or Al Nusra.
Would you explain the White Helmets for people?
So when there's a bombing and a building collapses, they go in and drag people out and get them medical attention as quick as possible.
And people think that they're somehow or another involved in it. They're a front.
Yeah, and the footage is faked in order to drum up sympathy for the rebel-held areas. I mean, I've heard serious people say that.
Serious people.
Yeah, not loons on Facebook. I've heard
like journalists or
yeah. I mean Seymour Hersh I think has walked it back a little bit since, but he said that in the early days.
Why do you think he believed it?
I read a really interesting article about him just a few days ago. Where was it? I forget what it was. It was the not expose, but a really good look at him. And I think he's just spent his career believing rightly that the government lies about all kinds of things, and that's got him into a point where he thinks, well, they always lie, no matter what. It's happened to a lot of journalists. Robert Fisk, Seymour Hersh, Martha Gellhorn. I mean, one of my favourite war correspondents of all time. I reread some of her stuff recently, and the first batch of war reporting she did, I think, is the best war reporting I've ever read. Spanish Civil War, Vietnam, and then she spent 25 years writing novels, and then later on wrote about, I believe it was the Yom Kippur War, and was denying that massacres had happened and saying, Arabs lie, they always lie, there was no massacre. And we now know there was a massacre, or there were massacres in the aftermath of these wars. So I don't know what happens. I mean, maybe if you just do this for too long, you just become so cynical that you're open to these things. But I'm amazed that Seymour Hersh is open to that idea.
When the very people that are calling it, the very people that have boots on the ground and that are in these war zones and calling these things, when they become cynical and they become jaded, that's when it gets really, really sketchy. And we rely so heavily on people like you. Like I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
Jamie's not going over there. Look at him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you wouldn't be able to really get, like, I know people that have gone to Venezuela and they come back and they go, I don't know what the fuck is going on over there. I don't know who to believe. I don't understand it. Venezuela is a very strange one. And I get messages all the time, and I've had Abby Martin who goes over there and she has one take on it, and I have other people that I talk to that have a different take on it, and I do not know. I don't know who to believe, and I think you'd have to go over there and you'd have to spend a lot of time to try to figure this out, and it would have to be the entire focus of your life to really try to parse it out.
I think that's true of a lot of conflicts. I mean, one of the drawbacks of doing what I do is I'm covering 7 or 8 things at once. So I feel like I'm not expert enough in even Afghanistan, where I've covered that more than any other. But Venezuela is an interesting one because there's such a left-right divide on that, and if you support the opposition, then you find yourself alongside John Bolton and Donald Trump, which means that a lot of people are going to automatically attack you.
Right. Automatically.
Yeah.
Even if it's correct.
And I think it's, we can say without a doubt that Maduro has destroyed the economy there. Maduro has imprisoned, beaten, killed journalists. There is a movement there that do want genuine elections. But some people will say, well, just because George Bush in another area or John Bolton in this era support the opposition, therefore the opposition must be illegitimate and the information coming out must be false. And I wish people did rely on people who actually went there, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like they rely on the guy behind the glass desk on the news with the loud opinion, rather than the people who are actually there.
Well, we still have this idea in our head that the person who's reading the news is the authority. That Don Lemon has the inside scoop, or whoever it is. And
I think it used to be that those guys would spend 20 or 30 years traveling, and then they'd get the cushy job behind the glass desk in the studio. Now it seems like you can go straight to the cushy job behind the glass desk.
Well, we just need someone who's relatable, who can read a teleprompter, who fits the profile that they're looking for, whether it's Fox News or CNN,
And also the information is there. There are fantastic documentaries, articles being written about all of these conflicts.
Right.
People aren't reading them.
Well, with something like Venezuela, the real problem is you have 2 sides. You have 2 different versions of what's happening, and it's if you're not educated in that country and you don't understand their politics, it's very difficult to figure out who's telling the truth.
Yeah. Same with Syria.
Yeah.